Welcome back, and welcome to a new summer tradition.
That's right, a garage update. This is going to be a quick way for us to highlight what we currently have in the stable and some of the top level things that we've done to it here recently.
And we're going to talk about some upcoming plans, including adventures and modifications. Ugh. And even though we have a new off-roading channel, a lot of you guys here might still appreciate a rig rundown every once in a while.
So let's get right into it with the rigs. We'll start with my 2007 Lexus GX470. So like I said, this is my 07 GX470. I haven't done a crazy amount to it recently. There are some videos in the works, one of them being my extruded aluminum roof rack. Actually, just the other day, my Morphlate compressor arrived. So I'll have that with a DIY air manifold split situation going on for airing up, airing down on trail. I have some front recovery points that are coming in that I need to do some homemade powder coating, some DIY powder coating on, as well as some awning mounts that I designed to remount my Napa awning. So there are a bunch of videos on this on our Roads Optional channel. So if you want to see more about that, there's even some videos on this on Flywheel if you want to see about my sleeping platform, my wheel and tire setup. So be sure to check those out if you are interested in this rig. As far as big changes, I am going to be changing the aesthetics of this for the first time. So I had a friend help me design some kind of retro inspired Toyota graphics that will be going on this year in the next couple weeks. But yeah, I am really pleased with this thing. I envision this staying in the stable for a very long time. But now, let's check out Jordan's Jeep.
Ah yes, the Jeep LJR, or Long Jeep Rubicon. This is the long wheelbase two-door that I purchased about 6 months ago, and I've been having a blast with it. A few modifications to note. As you can probably tell, a lot of lighting stuff has been happening, which we'll talk about. Some of that was already done by the previous owner, but a few things I have added. The winch does need to have a nylon cable. This actual thing right here is made for nylon cable winches, so the previous owner didn't really put the right cable on, which is kind of funny, but that's something I can address. And I do need new tires. Those are on the way. I got some Nokian pizza cutters, all-terrain tires. This thing is a blast. Took it up on Pickle Gulch Trail up in Colorado, somewhere over that direction. And this thing was such a trooper. I barely had to throw it in low range. Didn't even have to touch the lockers because it just crawled along in four-wheel drive. It's great. Now, what really needs to happen on this is suspension. I did suspension on the Miata, which we'll talk about in a minute. That was such a groundbreaking experience. This thing technically has suspension. It's the cheapest lift kit you can really get, a rough country one, and it rides terribly. I still enjoy driving this thing. It's a fun, 6-speed manual, just like the Miata, but just different. Like, that's like driving a go-kart. This is like driving a tractor. It's a hilarious two-car solution for that reason. By the way, I've also removed the hardtop, the factory hardtop, which is right there. And I have added on the soft top, one of the two soft tops. I also ran the bikini top for a bit, which just covers the top here, back to about here. But the soft top now fully, water resistant. I would say not waterproof, of course, but protects me from the elements. But a recent solution, one thing I wanted to highlight is the fact, highlight because it's lights, these no sight lights are awesome. They're sort of a ditch light situation. Which actually, because of these mounting brackets, I couldn't rotate to the sides for actual ditches, but they're just additional lighting up front. They currently have the amber plates on them, but I can actually remove these, pop these off right here, and then boom, it's just like pure white LED lights, which look really good with the halos up front as well. They are very bright, so leaving these on makes them a bit dimmer, which means, yeah, I can use them on the trails. They're, you shouldn't use them on the road. They're specifically off-road lights, but a big shout out to Novesight for sending those over. And I've actually been thinking, with how cool these pods are, and they're like solid metal construction, like high quality construction light pods, should I look at putting some of those on the Miata at some point? Like, nothing crazy, but I've got the mud flaps, I've got kind of the aggressive build over here, so I think it'd be really interesting to have some no sight lights maybe in the grill. That's something to consider. But those have been a great fun improvement on the Jeep, and it just looks a little bit more rugged and capable up front. So actually, let's jump to the garage at night so I can show you how bright these things are. Boom, check that out. That is literally just the no sight lights and my little tiny halos here. And I can actually shut those off too. The no sight light triggers are right here, which you can't really see in the darkness, but got those off. So now that's literally just the no sight lights. Plenty of brightness to see what's going on. And like I said, I can take this off and then it's even brighter. Holy cow. Put that back on, just slides on like that super easily. And yeah, that's what it looks like in the darkness. Now back to the light. Okay, so yeah, that's how good they look in darkness. Of course, right now, there's no reason to have them on except to show you guys how everything looks with all these lights turned on. But yeah, this Jeep has been a beast. It's a very faithful inline 4-liter 6-speed manual. Huge storage capacity. I really am convinced this is like the 2-car solution for if you like 2-door vehicles, I guess. My license plate came, which is hilarious. I love that. And I've done some LED lights in here. So a bunch of little things have happened with the Jeep since I first introduced it on this channel, including the head unit as well. So that works great. Still need to add a reverse camera. I've done the dash cam, which is great. And this phone holder is amazing. Still got to work out a reverse camera. And like I said, the mirrors for when the doors come off, because it's really nice outside, so I love to have the doors off in the summer. And one other thing is Austin also brought me back his subwoofer and amp that he had in his Fiesta ST, I believe, which has also been on this channel before he stole it. So that would be a fun addition to the Jeep. You guys have probably seen me put the subwoofer in the Miata. Subs should just go with everything, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a hot take, but that's the Jeep. Once again, well, that's actually the Jeep and the GX. So those are our Overlanders. Obviously, they're not the Halo cars on this channel. And I know you guys like the more fun, nimble sports cars like Miatas and things like this on Flywheel Films. So we're trying to keep it that way for you guys, but just wanted to mention, we have our own other channel, Roads Optional, where we take our vehicles on roads and also off-roads. The Jeep and the GX and a lot of other friends' similar vehicles as well. So Roads Optional is where you can go see still us, same people you hopefully like, and some fun vehicles, and we just have some adventures, some modifications, similar type of stuff, just for the more overlanding minded crowd. But enough of the Overlanders, that's not why you're here. Let's get on to the nimble cars.
So unfortunately, this is my most nimble vehicle. This is my wife's 2012 Acura TSX Sportwagon. Not entirely too sure what's so sporty about it because it is just a 4-cylinder front-wheel drive, naturally aspirated car. That being said, I really enjoy this thing. When we picked it up, it was a one-owner, under 100,000 mile example, and bone stock. So I replaced the brakes. Recently we did window tint and I installed a CarPlay head unit in it. And then here soon, wheels and tires will be coming. I picked some of those up actually when I was out in Colorado.
Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. No cap, I'm real. The plastic bars from a copy my steel.
I recently took this out all the way across Kansas to see Jordan for the Miata summer camp. And yeah, this is our road tripper, our commuter, our daily driver. This thing's great. I highly recommend these. We've sold a much newer, nicer CX-5 to get this, and I have zero regrets. But now what you all been waiting for, the star of the show.
And yes, now the star of the show, Ghosty Miata, which you can see has the MX-5 things, roof smart controller thing that I got from Flying Miata. Finally, after years of having no top controller, I have one, and now I'm like, why didn't I get one years ago? It's kind of life-changing. Just being able to operate the top at speed, or in this case, not even being in the car, just me showing you the car. So here it is, Ghosty Miata, all of my favorite things summed up in one car for most part. Austin didn't show his license plate, by the way. His wagon has a wagon, which is great because my Jeep has a Jeep, as we just discussed. But yes, this is Ghosty. Every single thing on this car, I guess dozens and dozens and dozens of modifications by now, have their own video showing how I did it, why I did it, etc. Even this silly steering wheel button that so many people have been asking about, I finally did a video including the link to the Etsy seller who makes that basically custom. And of course, I've got the door pulls from my friend Jackson over at Colored and Light. He makes some cool stuff over at Super Automotive Accessories. Yeah, the gauges, everything about this car, I'm just really loving. Now, I've been talking to Mike at Fly Miata. We might actually trade these things, whatever they are, because he has ones with white stitching, but his seats have red stitching. My seats have white stitching. So we're gonna probably trade our shift boot and e-brake boot. Otherwise, yeah, this thing is just awesome. I'm really excited to enjoy so many more adventures with this. I've gone out to Fly Miata summer camp more recently, which I'm still working through the backlog of stuff on that. I'm still hoping to do a highlight video for Fly Miata's YouTube channel, and of course the road trip film, the farewell with Luke's Boxster. Luke did take his Boxster out to Fly Miata summer camp again this year. It did break down on the way back. That's funny. After he already sold it, technically. Whole story to get into with that. That'll be in the road trip film. But this thing is, you know, you bought the right car when you look back on it after you like park and walk away and you're like, yeah. So if you don't look back on your car after you park it, you have bought the wrong car. But yeah, there's too many things to list that have even been recent modifications. But the roof controller's one, the subwoofer's another. What else? I guess the steering wheel sticker was almost a year ago, but I finally did a video on it. But there's still things left to do on this car. More notably, a lot of you know that I am kind of on the list to have the turbo kit from Fly Miata installed in this car. That will be done hopefully in the next month or so. It is not yet available to the public, but I've been helping them kind of develop the kit, helping with kind of learning the install process and a lot of things. I'm basically going to be one of the guinea pigs to really help see how it works on the installation. Hopefully even going to dyno it and do like a stock versus after the kit dyno. There's a lot of people that have been asking, you know, how much horsepower exactly does it add? And of course every car is just a little bit different, but we should have a really good baseline once it goes on my car, and that'll be after Miatas of the Gap. And very sad news, I don't actually think I can make it to Miatas of the Gap. There's just too many things I'm trying to fit into my schedule. I'd love to go, but you have to understand it's 4 days of driving just for me to attend Miatas of the Gap, and it's a fun event. I went last year. I will go next year because I will make sure Austin has his Miata by then, and then we'll both go together. I'll make it happen. But this year, just too many events. I prioritize Fly Miata summer camp, and I'm also going to Miata reunion. So those just had to take a little bit of precedent, unfortunately. So I'm sorry to all of you who I told I'd be out there. I don't think I'll make it. I'll be there in spirit. But we'll see you next year when Ghosty will be turbo at Miatas of the Gap. That'll be awesome. And maybe some of you guys will be turbo by then because the Fly Miata kit should hopefully be done by then. But yeah, beyond turbo, I don't know. I need new tires. These are really rough. And I mentioned in some previous videos, like these are about shot. They're basically at the wear bars. They're not on the cord, so they're not like dangerous yet, but they're at the bars where it tells you where they are worn out. So these need to be replaced. I'm still looking at tire options. If anyone has recommendations, throw them in the comments below. I know you've done that on previous videos, but I'm still just debating. But I really like the look of the Indy Firehawk 500s. I've always wanted to try them. These are the Michelin PS4S. They are, of course, probably one of the best tires. Now there's PS5, of course, which is out now, but I think these are just amazing. So it might be kind of fun to try something a little bit less amazing just to see how good a cheap tire can be, because the Indy Firehawks are literally like $100 less per tire, almost. So that's kind of my thought process there at the moment. I still would like to get the JDM fog light surrounds at some point. These just don't look good. You know, I did do the fogging stuff, which looks okay, but up close it doesn't look great. But then again, my whole bumper doesn't look great up close. So I've definitely been a bit jealous of Jackson's No Pro kit around his NC. I'm not going to go full kit like that, but I've had thoughts of other bumpers. I need to fix the mud flaps. This side looks good. This side looks crooked. I'm just trying to think of what else. Like, just for these garage updates, it's a nice quick way to be like, here's kind of what's happening in our lives, in our garages, across our cars, which at the moment is 4 cars, but hopefully soon, for Austin's sake, a 5th car, a Miata. I keep talking about stupid wiring for the ambient lighting that I have in my footwells. That's done right there. It just still looks kind of cheesy. I mean, on one hand, the red button looks kind of cool, but I think that needs to go. So if anyone has a direct recommendation on how to resolve that, I mean, I guess I could just cut the wires and then hardwire them into a fuse, because it doesn't need a lot of power. So that could be a fuse tap situation. I'm all ears. Like, maybe some of you wiring gurus just have a lot more knowledge than I do. I've still, of course, talked about doing speakers at some point, but there's just no really easy option, and the Bose sounds fine to me. I'm sure it's not amazing, but it does sound better than the Bose I had in my NC1, and the head unit did help. The sub did help, so that's not urgent. But enough blabbering on. That's enough update for our 4 cars. Let's go wrap this thing up. So there you have it, a quick garage update, and hopefully the next one looks different, because Austin is legit in the market for a Miata.
Right? But for now, modding these 2 cars will tide me over. Is there anything I'm missing? Should I lift the GX? Should I slam the TSX? Is the Miata going to make this the ultimate 3-car solution? I don't know, you tell me.
And what else should I do to my 2 cars? Or should I also get a 3rd car? I'm just kidding.
Dude, you're not kidding. Everybody wants a 3rd car. Guys, put in the comments, what 3rd car should Jordan get?
Dude, I can't even handle 3 cars. I am one person.
Nissan Cross Cabriolet.
Hey! It's totally not scripted, right? I mean, I'm definitely not looking at a script, because Austin is legit in the market. Why am I looking up at the sun? We tell kids not to do that, right? Dude, why do you have no outtakes? It's show business. Wait, let me in.